Well, this is a momentous occasion for a momentous plant, if you don't mind me saying. This is Tibuchina, that's how I pronounce it anyway. And I have been looking for one of these, hoping to grow one of these for a mere 40 years since it was first introduced to me. And I wanted to kind of show it off to you and discuss some of the tips that I've picked up on how to look after them, and invite you to actually pass on any tips that you might have heard, because it's the first time I've grown one really successfully, and I want to keep it for a few years if I can. This is the star of today's video. So this was introduced to me by a gentleman by the name of Bob Bridgen. Bob Bridgen, who used to run Bridgen's nurseries down in Faversham in Kent. I used to buy plants from him when I was working in a garden centre. Hello, the guys from Ruxley Manor Garden Centre down there in Kent, on the outskirts of London, where I used to work when I was a college lad. And this chap, Bob Bridgen, he was one of these kind of plant innovators. He was introducing new plants all the time. He was one of the first to introduce the osteospermums to British gardens, which have now become quite common. But he was one of the first, and he mentioned and he showed me a Tibouchina, and I've really struggled to get hold of a decent plant and grow it ever since, until this year when I was in, well, another name drop here, I was in Pew's Garden Centres down in Cardiff, where I live, and actually I do some work with Pew's, and I saw these and I thought, that's a beauty. I mean, it's really strong bushy plant, and so I put it into a big pot with some well-drained compost in there, and I started to see a flower bud like this one here, one or two of those starting to appear. And then they form kind of clusters of flower buds like that there. Those flowers there I think have gone over, but that's a new flower bud coming there. And it's really just thrived. So the tips that I've picked up on have been, first of all, put it in a sunny, bright position. And this has been in the sun for, where are we now? It's 4 o'clock, and it's been in the sun since, I would say, about 10 o'clock, so it's had, a good 6 hours of midday sunshine. This will get good sunlight levels right the way through into the autumn. As the sun gets lower in the sky, this corner catches the sunlight well into kind of September, October. So I'm quite confident that we can keep it flowering for, well, it's been flowering now for a month already, so we're going to get, I guess, 3 or 4 months of these beautiful violet flowers. Have you seen another flower with that deep rich blue and these kind of velvety leaves? They're quite thick, hairy, velvety leaves. So I'm going to probably take it up to the school in the autumn in its pot and put it in the greenhouse there. I haven't got a greenhouse at home, so the school greenhouse has got a little heater in it, and I'm going to cut back on the watering. At the moment I'm allowing the surface of the water, the surface of the compost to dry out a little bit before we water it again. It doesn't like to be waterlogged. It's one of those kind of plants you need to get the balance right, so you don't want it soaking wet, but you don't want the whole plant drying out completely. So I just wait till I can see that the surface of the compost is starting to dry out. At the moment I can see that it's quite moist, and then we'll give it a drink. And I've got some slow release fertilizer in there, so 6-month high potash slow release fertilizer. That high potash fertilizer will encourage more flowers, but it'll also toughen up the growth. It'll be less likely to put on lots and lots of soft leafy growth, which we don't want, because that will be more vulnerable in the winter. It puts on a tougher, more resilient growth with lots more flower buds. So good water management, lots of feeding, sunny position, and then protected over winter is the kind of the tips that I've picked up. Have any of you got any more tips for us on how we can grow successfully these Tibuchinas? And if anybody knows where Bob Bridgen is these days, even if he's still alive, bless him, because he was a real inspiration to me. Isn't it great that plants can bring back memories like that? And I think of individual people that have been an influence in my life in a good way when I think of specific plants. And this is an absolute beauty that I'm so pleased to have after 40 years of waiting. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Speak soon. Bye.